Happy Weatherperson's Day, everybody. It's National Weatherperson's Day here in the United States of America, celebrating John Jeffrey's birthday in 1744. This was a time in which we had the first weather observer, and that was the latter part of the 18th century. So that was our first weather observer, John Jeffreys, and to celebrate that, we celebrate any meteorologist, weather forecaster, broadcast meteorologist, spotters, storm chasers, anybody that has anything to do with recording weather, predicting weather, outputting weather data on media or whatnot. So that is today, February 5th, 3 days after Groundhog Day. So celebrating National Weatherperson's Day, in case you didn't know that. Let's get right on into the weather forecast here. I'm going to skip straight since there's not much going on right now. I'm going to skip straight to what we think's happening here. We have the NAO index here, and that is positive, and we're continuing to see that stay either neutral or positive through the forecast period. Now we're looking at the AO index here. This is the Arctic Oscillation Index. This has been more active this year. It's been much more negative than the NAO, and being that it's going to really fall off a cliff here towards the end of the forecast period here in mid-March or mid-February for that matter, we will see storminess crank up. Now whether those are winter storms or rainstorms will remain to be seen. We will see a big warm-up sometime in mid-February. But let's get through the next week here. And I bet most people are getting very excited about that prospect of a New England snowstorm. And yes, I said New England snowstorm. Here, let's get right into the particulars here. We have what we're setting up here. We have the trough here in the east, and this is bringing us a fair deal of and it's not a very well-defined trough. This has been the theme this winter, and then we see some ridging here out west. But I'm going to accelerate this here. You see these two little areas right in here that are kind of the bends in the height contours here. This is the first area that we're going to concern ourselves with, and then the second area, that's the coastal development. That's the that's going to be the area with the clipper that's coming down through the Great Lakes. So let's look at the potential vorticity at the 500 millibar layer. This shows us the level of spin in the atmosphere, which is really good for measuring and gauging low pressure systems. This spin really gets going here. Now look at the potential vorticity over the eastern Great Lakes by about the time Thursday rolls around and early Friday. And these really start to come together. You see a little spin up here off the east coast here, and then we start to see these mesh together, and the potential vorticity over eastern New York and northern New Jersey really gets going, and that starts combining with the vorticity off the coast and really starts to spin this coastal low up. And that is when it gets just east of the tip of Long Island. That's where things are really going to start to blow up with this storm. Not so much down here in the mid-Atlantic. It's mainly up here in eastern New England, and that's why I'm putting eastern New England. If we take a look at the impact map here, this is where we're going to see a large area of eastern and southeastern New England really getting affected by this storm. So, and then we'll see lesser amounts further back into western New England. That's where the impact scale falls off here. So, if we get right into, we're not going to really get into accumulations just yet. I want to analyze the models a little bit more because the GFS was finally switched over to the Euro today. The NAM is still lagging behind too. The NAM is still taking it well off the coast, but the Euro is holding tough and the GFS has come in line. So the NAM is one of the few outliers right now. So being that most of the models are agreeing now, this is becoming more certain, especially for eastern and southeastern New England. So that is the impact we're going to be looking at. What kind of temperatures are we going to see with that storm? Well, we're going to see temperatures well into 30s across the northeast here. Some 20s here in New England. That's where the heaviest snow is most likely going to fall. And back here out west, very temperate, not much going on. Let's take a look at, if we move the maps into motion here, we take a look at the areas that we have for any cold air outbreaks, and we really don't see any at this point. In fact, we're by the end of the forecast period here, you go out into the plains, and that's where we start to get a warm-up right in here, and that's going to slowly spread east during the following week, just in time for mid-February. So this might be one of our few last chances, I'm not going to say last chance, but one of our few chances left to get a major snowstorm here in New England. So we're going to continue to watch that going forward here, and that the New England snowstorm would be possibly for starting late morning Friday into early morning Saturday. So that's what we're looking at, and most models bring it down to about 975 millibars east, about 200 miles east of Cape Cod by the time it's out there. Like I says, the main threat will be eastern New England and southeastern New England. So if we take a look at precipitation amounts during the next, say, 48 hours to 96 hours here, a lot of rain here along the Gulf Coast with that system. That will be the beginnings of some of that energy that we have that will transfer to the coast, and of course here in the Great Lakes with some of the snow. But models start to pick up on a lot of this moisture here off the New England coast, and interesting, most of the bullseye is staying off the coast, but we'll see if model trends continue to hold tough with this or not. In the Pacific Northwest, we're going to see another system move on shore here, up to a quarter, half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of precipitation, liquid equivalent. So that's pretty much going to do it. I'm meteorologist Mark Molnar. Like us on Facebook at MeteoMark. If you have a question, post it. Like I said, Facebook at MeteoMark. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like the video if you liked it. Here's a 4-day forecast for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Elmira in the northern tier counties of Pennsylvania.